good evening to one and all present here. I invite each and every one of you for today's session. Let's have a quick recap of last week's session. Last week, we discussed about the purpose of life. Everybody wants to know what is the purpose of their life or what is the meaning of their life. The very purpose of life is to live our life to the fullest, to be happy always, to expand our consciousness, live a meaningful life full of celebration and clarity. Any action or work we do, which gives us joy, soul satisfaction, expands our consciousness, is the purpose of life. We would have faced many challenges in our life from the time of conception up until now. When we look back into our lives, we ask ourselves why I am not happy or what should I do to be happy. We might find the root cause of our sorrow in the past. Past is past and we cannot do anything about the past. But the present is always in our hands. Whatever may be our issues, such as emotional, financial, physical, relationship issues, the solution is always in our present moment. More energy is equal to more clarity in life. Energy is the fundamental factor to live a happy, healthy, and peaceful life. Clarity simply means what to do and what not to do. Clarity also means that we are in touch with our inner feelings and intuitions. Feelings and intuitions are guidance from the soul. Clarity and health are directly relates to energy. There are two aspects to the energy: how to accumulate energy and how not to waste the energy which is already accumulated. For the first aspect, do meditation every day. And by doing meditation, we accumulate energy every day. For the second aspect, the leakage can be arrested by practicing mauna and mindfulness. If we speak unnecessarily, unscientifically, negatively, we lose energy. Words are the sounds or expressions of the soul. Speak when it is really necessary to speak. Mindfulness simply means body and mind in one place. Any action or work we do it mindfully. Start with one activity at first. Practice of mauna and mindfulness conserves energy. The inner confusion is dispelled by reading a lot of spiritual books. Clarity cannot be given to us by others. We get clarity by reading books. Service gives meanings to our life. Service simply means you are offering your help to others who are in need. In the journey, we tend to go up and down. We should not be overly excited during the up state and overly sad during the down state. We should witness both the states. Ups and downs are inevitable, even to enlightened masters. Ups and downs gives beauty to our life. Success and failure are experiences to the soul. Success is pregnant with materialistic gains, and failure is pregnant with spiritual gains. A Sangha gives motivation to the truth seeker. A single bird cannot cross the ocean, but a flock of birds can cross it easily. When we are part of the Sangha, we have our own individual soul energy and the support of Sangha. This is the emphasis of Sangha. I now warmly welcome our Global Meditation Master Pratik Vijay for today's session. Over to you, sir.
Today, let us understand some of the very basic practical aspects. Fundamentally, why we all have come into this path. This is the question we should check. We should question ourselves every day. It should be a constant practice every day that you should question yourself. Why am I practicing this meditation? Why did I come into this path? What was the fundamental reason? What was I looking for? And am I traveling in the right direction? What I have understood and what is yet to be learned. So this introspection should happen every single day. This is a quality of a seeker, a truthful seeker. Many people, after coming into the spiritual journey, in the initial stages, they are very excited, they are very happy. They realize that they have found the path. But then a certain laziness comes into them. They think they know everything, or they think the guru will take care of them, or the sangha will take care of them, and they start to dilute their scientific temper. So it is very important. We should always question ourselves. This is where Sajjana Sangatyam comes into play. Debate. When you do Sajjana Sangatyam, spiritual debate, you are questioning your own intellect. Right? You are sharpening your intellect through questions and answers. And when another person questions you, when you speak, when you answer to the other person, you are not answering to the other person, actually you are answering to yourself. One such thing which constantly intrudes us is about the topic of love, self-love. We all heard of it, self-love. But how much do we practice it in our everyday lives? How much do we really understand? How many layers we have understood? And understanding is on one part. How much we are implementing in our day-to-day lives? How much integrated we are? That is very important. Self-love simply means that you accept yourself as you are. That's all. Self-love simply means you accept yourself as you are. You are totally happy with yourself, irrespective of the situation around you. You might be single, you might be married, or you might be married and divorced. You might have kids. Your kids can be wonderful kids, or your kids are not so great. Whatever might be your external situation, you are simply happy with yourself. You accept yourself. When you have the ability to accept yourself, then you are an eligible candidate to receive love from the divine. See, God has created you. And if you are not accepting yourself, then where is the possibility of the divine grace? If by not accepting yourself, you are insulting the very creator. See, this is very important and very deep to understand. You are perfect as you are. With all your negatives, with all your drawbacks, with all your pitfalls, with all your limitedness, you are simply perfect. With this acceptance comes a certain peace within you. And in that space of peace, you know what to do next. You know what are the areas you need to work on. If you deny yourself, or if you judge yourself, then there is no possibility of working on certain perfection into certain areas. There are many aspects, there are many areas in our life where we need to learn a lot. We need to perfect ourselves. That is the very reason we are born. We are not perfect masters who are born here to show our perfectness. We are born to become perfect. And it's a constant journey. There's always a layer of perfection to be added in every lifetime. It's a constant journey. So acceptance is very, very important. Why acceptance? Some people say it is too difficult to accept myself. Why it is too difficult? Because there's so much of judgment about yourself. You judge yourself a lot. You conclude yourself a lot. Where there is judgments and conclusions, there cannot be acceptance. That's why Jesus Christ said, judge ye not. As long as you have judgments, there is no possibility of acceptance. And where there is lack of acceptance, there's no possibility of love. So this is the equation. Your judgments and conclusions should go away. You are entitled to your opinions, but don't conclude anything. If you let go of these conclusions and judgments, very naturally you get into an acceptance mode. You don't need to force yourself to accept certain things. Very naturally you go into an acceptance mode. So all you need to do is let go of judgments and conclusions. When you let go of judgments and conclusions, then naturally you let go of comparisons as well. So where there is no judgments, where there is no conclusions, where there is no comparisons, then naturally there is no complaints. And very naturally, in a very organic way, you accept as you are. This is self-love, as simple as that. And when you are able to accept yourself, the beauty is when you're able to accept your own negatives, when you're able to accept your own shortcomings, then you are always compassionate to the other people who are not so perfect. Because you understand that you yourself are not perfect. So naturally, you are compassionate to others' shortcomings. So the compassion develops very naturally. And you have a very generous heart towards other people. And when there is generosity towards others, in accepting others with all their negatives, with all their imperfections, then there is a wonderful relationship. This is how you build the relationship. Relationship is built based on acceptance. If you constantly complain about somebody, then the other person doesn't want to be with you. When you simply accept the other person with all the imperfections, then everybody want to be a friend with you. Everybody want to spend time with you because you are no more judging them. You're accepting them. So everybody wants to be your friend. Everybody wants to be in a nice relationship with you. So this is the practical goal in our spiritual journey. Spirituality is not for third eye, astral travel. It's not for that. Anyway, those things happen. Spirituality is primarily to live your life in totality, to live your life in a certain peace, in a certain grace. And overnight, you cannot build these qualities. But every day you can add to it by becoming more and more aware of it. By consciously becoming aware of these things, you can slowly integrate. And integration happens. See, there are two ways. One, you doing it, which is stressful and which has its own reactions. And the other way is that which happens organically, naturally. All you have to do is remove the blockage. Then the flow will happen. The blockage is in your mind. The blockage is in your perception. The blockage is in your understanding of life. So once you remove those blockages, then naturally you flow with life. Naturally, all the right things happen to you. All the good things happen to you. The integration happens. The perfection happens. The acceptance happens. Self-love happens. Friendship happens. Enlightenment happens. There are many aspects to look into acceptance. The first is, on the planet Earth, the people are of various levels in their evolution, right from infant soul, baby soul, young soul, mature soul, to old soul, to transcendental soul, to the enlightened soul. There are many levels. There are many people in their different levels of their evolution. Some people have taken only 50 lifetimes. Some people have taken 100 lifetimes. Some people have taken 500 lifetimes. Some people have taken 1,000 lifetimes. So different people have different soul experiences. And Earth is such a beautiful place where from infant soul to the infinite soul, all are living in the same place. Sometimes within the same family, you have this variation. Father is a young soul, mother is an old soul, child is a transcendental soul. Or vice versa. So by understanding the very fact, every person is doing their best. You underline this, you write it down and underline. Everybody is doing their best in any given point of time, according to their own soul evolution. Everybody is doing their best at any given point of time, according to their own soul evolution. When you understand this, that everybody is doing their best, then naturally you will not be upset with them. Even though their words and their actions hurt you, you will easily forgive. This is one of the key ingredients of forgiveness. One of the key ingredients of forgiveness is you understand that everybody is doing their best. When you understand that everybody is doing their best, you forgive because they're doing their best. Sometimes in personal relationships, it's difficult to forgive because you might have gone through so much hurt and you easily tend to blame the other person. Because of you, I suffered. No, it's not because of any other person you suffer. It's because of your own lack of understanding you suffer. Sometimes it is too difficult to forgive. Even though you theoretically know the truth, it's difficult to forgive. Then what option you have? At least forget and move on. Where you can't forgive, at least forget and move on. Don't hold on to the past. If you hold on to the past, that becomes your own baggage. Only you will suffer, nobody else will suffer. Your past becomes a baggage only to yourself. If you hold on to the past, it becomes a baggage only for you, not for the other person. Forgive, at least forget and move on. When you have this understanding, then it's easy to accept. Easy to accept, easy to forgive, easy to let go. And you become lightweight. When you become lightweight, there is a smile on your face. There is certain happiness in your being. Okay. And as it's always a vice versa. When you forgive another person, it becomes easy to forgive yourself. It becomes easy to be kind to yourself. You will say, I have done my best. Okay, I've done my best. And you keep moving on. Keep moving on. Some people, they're very good at forgiving others, but they cannot forgive themselves because they're too hard on themselves. So you should every time remind yourself that I have done my best. At any given point of time, I will always do my best. I've done my best. Sometimes people judge their past based on their present understanding. Today, they might have a certain understanding, but they will judge their past. 5 years ago, I did a mistake. Based on today's understanding, you cannot judge your past. 5 years ago, at that time, you did your best. 5 years ago, you were not aware of meditation. You are not aware of karma. You are not aware of the absolute truth. We all create our own reality. You are not aware of that. So at that time, you did your best. So that's the way you forgive yourself. Based on your current understanding of life, you should never judge your past. Okay. So then, this is another perspective of acceptance. You're always doing your best. And if you feel that there is something you would have done better, don't regret it. So this is a second perspective. No regrets. No regrets. What you regret, you have a chance to do this moment. Whatever you want to do in a different way, do it in the present moment. Don't regret about the past. Past is past. Gatam, gatam. Past is past. You might have done really terrible things in your past. So what? Past is past. Finished. That should be the attitude. You might have cheated somebody. You might have manipulated somebody. You might have exploited somebody. So what? You learned your lesson. That is the most important thing. You learned your lesson. So there is no regrets. Move forward. Every single person, they learn through their mistakes. Mistakes are bound to happen. For example, a child who is learning mathematics, in the beginning stages, he will do a lot of wrong calculations. A child cannot learn algebra, calculus, trigonometry in one go. He will do many, many mistakes. Only after doing many, many mistakes, then he will solve the problem perfectly. He will become an expert in the mathematics subject. Even in sculpture, an artist, in the beginning, they will do a lot of mistakes. Even musicians, in the beginning, they will do a lot of mistakes. All apaswaras will come in the beginning, and then suswaras will come. So only through mistakes, we all learn. But if you're afraid of your mistakes, and you are too judgmental about your mistakes, then there is no possibility of learning. So don't be afraid to do any mistakes. Mistakes are a way to learn lessons. And the only thing to remember is don't repeat the mistake. Don't repeat the mistake. Sometimes unconsciously you might repeat once or twice. It's okay. If you are repeating the same mistake more than 2 times, then there's something wrong. Even then you become aware of it and don't try to repeat the mistake. Don't get into the guilt consciousness. Now this is the third point. Guilt. You should avoid guilt at any cost. Guilt is a poison to the soul. Guilt is like a poison to the soul. You underline, guilt is a poison to the soul. So how do you come out of the guilt? By avoiding regrets. How do you avoid regret? When you learn lessons. When you have learned the lesson, then you don't regret. You feel good that because of that mistake, you have learned this lesson. So you feel proud about yourself. You will never regret. So these are the very practical aspects of integrating spirituality in your day-to-day life. So once again, nobody is perfect. Everybody will do mistakes, and through the mistakes, they learn the lessons. Like a child, while solving a mathematics problem in the initial stages, the child is bound to do mistakes. The child will use wrong formulas. The child will make a lot of rough work to make sure that the answer is right. And once the rough work is done, then the child will do beautifully in the main sheet. Sometimes the teacher will ask, okay, show me your rough work. Because the teacher is concerned about whether the child is making an attempt to learn or not. Imagine a child is giving a clean sheet with all the right formulas. Every single step is right. The child gives the sheet to the teacher. The teacher is suspicious. The teacher will say, show your rough work. The focus, the emphasis is on whether you learn the lesson or not. You are giving an answer sheet beautifully without any errors. This is not the point. You have done a lot of rough work. You have done mistakes in the beginning. Then you have learned it. Then you have corrected yourself. You solve the problem. The whole process is the beauty. The learning process is the beauty. How many mistakes you do doesn't matter. Whether you are learning or not, that matters. Whether you are attempting to learn or not, that matters. You are making efforts to learn or not, that matters. Your efforts are more important. So here, who is the teacher in the day-to-day life, in your life, who is the teacher? Your higher self is your teacher. Once you vacate the body, when you go to the higher worlds, there will be a 3D movie of your just concluded lifetime. You will see your own life as a movie, and you will evaluate your lifetime. So from the soul space, you will evaluate your own lifetime. And what will make you proud at that time is you have attempted or not. That matters. Whether you did mistake or not, whether you did wonderfully or not, whether you scored merit, that doesn't matter. You attempted, that matters. You attempted to learn something, that matters. So there was another question. The other person said, I'm fearful. How to overcome the fear? Fears are there for everybody. Everybody has a fear. Whether you made an attempt to face your fears, that matters. You made an attempt to face your fears. In spite of the fears, you made an attempt. You will feel proud about yourself in the higher worlds. The same with meditation. Whether meditation happens or not, it's not in your hands, because meditation is something you cannot do. Meditation is something which happens. But whether you sat for the meditation or not, that matters. You have allocated a particular time and you have motivated yourself and you sat for meditation. For half an hour, 1 hour, you closed your eyes and you sat for meditation. In spite of all the disturbance, in spite of all the mind agitation, in spite of all the body pains, you sat without opening the eyes. That matters. Whether meditation happens or not, you are least bothered. But you have done your best. That matters. Okay, so the next point is always at any given point of time, you do your best. Do your best and leave the rest. At any given point of time, do your best and leave the rest. This is what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. You do the work, but don't expect the results. Do the work sincerely and never expect any results. Because results depends on many factors. Results are not in your hands. But the very work you did, the very karma you do, are you doing your best? That matters. So at any given point of time, always do your best and leave the rest. Then naturally, the self-love blossoms. So these are the points. If you can again and again introspect and integrate in your day-to-day life, then you are bound to be happy. You are bound to be peaceful. Naturally, you become a loving person towards yourself and towards everybody around you. Some people, they think if they have a certain, like a nice wife or a nice husband, kids, parents, job, if everything is fine in life, then they're successful. That is not the definition of success. The definition of success from the soul perspective, I'm telling you, the definition of success from the soul perspective is, in spite of all the challenges in your life, in spite of all the failures in your life, you are still moving forward, then you are a successful person from the soul perspective. That particular lifetime is a grand success. In spite of all the troubles, in spite of all the challenges, in spite of all the failures, the whole life is a failure from the mind perspective, but you still move forward in life, then that particular lifetime is a grand success from the soul perspective. Namaste to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for today's enlightening wisdom. Today, we understood why we need to introspect ourselves every day and how to integrate spirituality in our everyday life. We also understood when we accept ourselves with our own imperfections, we become compassionate towards others. The key to forgiveness is to understand that everybody is doing their best according to their own soul evolution. The bold statements, learn from mistakes and move forward, guilt is a poison to the soul, do the best and leave the rest, are also clearly understood by us. Thank you so much, sir, for today's session.